Survivor's ready. If anybody has a hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time to do so.
The queen stays queen.
You said rustle feathers.
Did you do that?
Yeah. I'm supposed to calamity. We have ripe bananas all the time.
Dude, my prize isn't even $1 million. My prize was that I fell in love in this game. Love at first sight. Her name is Candace.
You officially go down as the dumbest survivor ever.
Welcome to Not Game, All Personal. Hey, we are a Survivor podcast here to talk about all things Survivor, more specifically the events of this week's episode, episode 2, season 48. I'm Nathan. This is Tony. How's it going, Tony?
Hey, it's going great, Nathan. I'm just out here living the dream, you know? I realized last night we had a big snowstorm where I'm at, and so I was free last Wednesday night and I could have watched live and I just forgot because I can never watch live. So it just didn't occur to me until 11 p.m. that I could have watched it live. But hey, I'm excited. I'm happy to be here.
I've definitely been there. Once you get out of your routine, even if the out of routine makes more sense logistically, it just you don't. Yeah, no, I get it. I've 100% been there, especially when it comes to live TV. Especially because there's just not that many things I watch that are live TV. You know, I think that's part of it. It's everything else is just, it's just dropped on a streaming service, or even if it is on network, you know, I don't know. So Survivor's one of the last things, I think.
Yeah, that's there's stuff that comes out every Thursday at this time this comes out, but having something be a live event, it's literally just Survivor and Big Brother for me, I think.
And probably sports. Is sports the only thing that's keeping live TV going?
That's true. I do watch sports. Well, I haven't watched much sports in the last month. I've been broken.
What? You out on the Mavericks? Why?
Man,
Tony?
We don't need to get into it on this podcast.
All right, well, let's get into something more exciting.
Real sad, real quick.
Season 48, episode 2. Let's just take a temperature check of the room. How are we feeling this season? 2 episodes in. Are we feeling better, worse after the last episode, or about the same? Still getting used to these people?
Still getting used to these people. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff happening. I think I was a betting man, I'd say someone from the Green Tribe wins the game because they're the tribe that's getting decimated, and I feel like that's the theme, or that happens a lot, where it's the tribe that gets destroyed. They're the ones that come back and win it. Yeah, but we got more focus on that same tribe, which, to be fair, their dynamic was interesting, and it was a very interesting outcome. But I would have loved to dive into and see where everybody stands on some of these other tribes.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think I have this fear, especially because, spoilers alert, because Kevin went home, and I don't have any strong feelings towards him, but based on the archetype, I don't think you'd be wrong to assume he might have been a little more helpful in challenges than some other people that were up for grabs. And so I am worried, are we going to have this green cycle for another week or two and not get to know these other tribes, which, I mean, I should just get used to because this happens every season, right? There's at least one tribe that we don't see, sometimes 2, where it takes a couple weeks to get into tribal. So I don't know. Hopefully someone else can go there next week because I want to see where some of these dynamics are going to play out.
Absolutely. And if you're on those tribes, you want to have to put your cards on the table. You want to have to make a decision because then you know who you can trust.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Especially if things were getting very interesting on the purple tribe as to what direction they were going to go. I was very interested, and then they won again. I was like, all right, well.
Yeah.
Don't even get to see who was going to survive between Star and Ava because it felt like there was going to be some sort of a showdown. So they fooled me a little bit. So kudos to them.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've learned to just not even pay attention to those pre-challenge dynamics because I feel like they try to get me every single week, right? And every time I try to play into this one's going to tribal, this one, they've learned how to set up enough with every single tribe, and I think almost to a fault because then it starts to get annoying because some seasons we'll see the same dynamics just. Okay, we get it, and it'll take 3 weeks for them to go to tribal and finally see some conclusion to what they've been setting up.
Yeah, they just are. We get it. They're mad at each other. Like, move on. We don't need to show this every single week.
Yeah, I will say I do think I'm most interested in the purple right now. I think I yeah, I just think every single person on that tribe I at least have some understanding about or where they stand. And I think they're actually doing the most interesting things. Maybe not like the best gameplay, but like the most fascinating, where I think like green and are we calling this orange or yellow? I forget.
Orange.
Okay. I could really be sold. I almost want to call it mustard, but we'll go orange.
We can go mustard if you want.
Let's do mustard. It looks like mustard to me. Am I
Mustard.
crazy? Is it just the brightness on my screen right now that I'm looking at?
Both my screens, both websites, it's very clearly orange to me.
It might be a me thing, so we'll go orange just so I'm not isolated. But yeah, with green and orange, I don't know. There's still like a couple question marks, like maybe one or two players on each that like I'm not certain on. But like purple, it's like I feel like I know everyone, and I want to ride them out. That's my thought.
Absolutely. And yeah, we'll see. I feel like that tribe in general has 4 of probably the top 6 most interesting people on this cast. I think
Yeah.
I feel that way. I think that's my take.
I would agree with that. Like Bianca, absolutely.
She was not one that I included. In
Oh,
that
well,
group.
never mind. All right. Well, should we start with the green tribe?
Yeah, we
Since
might as well start
They
there.
have the most content.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, some of it was, I think, built off of last week, right? Because Sai, that's how it is, right? That's how you say it?
Say.
It is Say?
It was say. I intentionally
Okay.
listened. It was say.
All right. That's the last time you're going to need to tell me. Say. I feel like
say. That's how I get
most
that
of
right
the most of the dramas revolving around her. She's kind of
Always.
the central point. She's very, I don't know, extroverted, loud. I don't want to be too rude, We'll let it play out.
She
See
speaks
if
her mind in in an excessive way. I don't know. She's not scared to share her opinion. She's very in your face. These are things like you said aren't necessarily negative, but in the game of Survivor,
yet
it's like
They could be.
culture shock because it's like you don't do that in Survivor. You play nice in Survivor for the most part, but she's not that.
Well, and especially like at tribal council, she almost like prides herself in, well, I'm just honest. I say how it is. Like I don't have secrets. I don't hide it. Let's just call it out.
And there
And
was that whole conversation in Tribal. It was like, sure. Mary's like, sure. Actually, I liked Mary in that moment. I was like, oh, she's pushing back a little bit. Like she's got a little fight to her. All right.
well, I think Mary's point, and I don't know if she articulated it in the best way, but the conclusion I came to, it was like you can say that all you want, but like you do have secrets. Like you are hiding some things. Like even if you and because I feel like I know a lot of these people, the people that like it's like, oh, I just say it how it is, I just speak my mind, and it was like, okay, your whole personality trait is that you're this bold, authentic person, but like there are still parts of you you're not honest about. Like everyone has
Yeah.
that. So it's like sometimes the people who are claiming to be the most honest are actually the most dishonest people, and like at least Mary is being honest about being dishonest. I don't know if you're tracking with that, but that's how I
absolutely.
felt.
I feel like we've seen it before where there's players who pride themselves on being this super honest, trustworthy, loyal person, and because they present themselves that way, they're expected to act that way, and when they don't, they're punished. I think of Lillian from Pearl Islands, and it was partially because she was wearing her like Boy Scout troop stuff, and that like has a message of like how you carry yourself, and if you don't live up to that, people aren't gonna like it. But then the counter argument, not the counter argument, but the on the other side of the coin, you have like Dr. Will from Big Brother, where like he goes in and he
Deal or
tells
No
you he's
Deal
going to lie
Island?
to you, huh?
And Deal or No Deal Island? Come on.
too. But he's like, I'm going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you like what you want to hear so that I can make happen what I want to happen. So nobody's offended when he does that because it's very clear he's going to. So like propping up your game as this loyal game can be helpful, until it's like, no, you just lied to me, even though like your whole brand is that you wouldn't.
Yeah, no, exactly. And because like the truth is like she was lying, you know? Like and that's going to come back, you know? And the more that you claim to be an honest person, the more you have to lose. And I am beyond fascinated that they decided to keep her. I'm not surprised because like we wouldn't be getting this much screen time if she was going to go home, and I hate to like blame it on the edit, but like she's going to be a character for a little bit more here. But
Yeah.
like if we are just looking at it objectively from just like, is this a good game move for the people on the Green Tribe? I don't know if it was. Like I'll just was
Well, she had the idol no matter what, so she played it, so she was going to be safe.
well,
Yes, it could have
yeah,
like, made
based
her feel
on
more safe.
Cedric
but-
telling her to play it.
Yeah,
Like it all started with that, and then it jumped to, okay, let's get Kevin out instead of Mary. And so I'm just not fully following why Justin and Cedric decided that was the better move.
yeah. So first of all, Justin, Cedric, and Kevin talked, and they're like, "Hey, let's take out Say. Let's get rid of her." Cedric didn't like that because she feels like a daughter to him. I think he said something along those lines, right?
Yeah, we're
Or
seeing a
maybe
lot of
that
that
was
this
Joe
season.
talking about Ava. I'm not sure.
I think it was David talking about Chrissy.
It might have been. So then he tells her like, "Hey, play your idol," and is she like, "Hey, whose idea was it?" And he said Kevin, and so then Kevin became the target because he was the one going that direction. Is that the?
I
right?
believe so. That yeah, I mean that's the way that I kind of read it. But
Interesting.
I'm not like, again, I'm just not fully tracking. I'm thinking like long term, you know, maybe I'm just still stuck on this like tribe strength. And maybe, you know, I feel like we've had seasons of complaining about them just sending home weak girls for the first 3-4 weeks. So maybe I should be glad this is a shift. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna work out for them because is Mary gonna be a better ally for these challenges than Kevin? Potentially, I don't know.
Yeah. Keeping Mary in the long term is a wild move, just generally. Like that doesn't make much sense to me.
No, because it doesn't feel like they did much to like build a connection with her. You know, because like it'd be one thing if you're sending home, again, a quote unquote tribe strength. That's all just an assumption that Kevin would perform better. But like they had an alliance with him, right? Like they were working with him. Mary, we haven't seen any sort of connection. So like the reason for keeping her over him, it's just, it doesn't really make sense to me at all.
I guess you're more worried about him because he's one of your allies. I don't know.
So
They
you-
just kind
you
of do
keep
whatever
the-
Say wants. It feels like
Right, which is, I don't know. I'm just like,
that is not the type of player I would hitch my wagon to. It's just not.
no.
If I
And
had
like,
to, if I felt like that's the direction everyone was going, yes. But I would have done what Kevin did a million times out of a million. I would have been like, "Are we going the right direction here? Is this what we should be doing?"
yeah. And I mean, to their defense, like they did flush her idol, and they kept the person, Mary, that probably wants her out the most.
Yeah.
So like,
definitely.
but they could run this back, right? Just next week. Okay, now it's her turn. I didn't get a full grasp. Do you think Mary was in on this plan? Because she didn't have a vote. So
I don't think so. I like that's the thing. Like they didn't even bring her in to make any of these moves. It was purely like, who cares? She doesn't have a vote. Like she's so far on the outside. It feels like.
yeah. I don't know. Just bizarre moves all around. Anything else on this Green Tribe? Or like I really don't even have much more to say other than like, what do we assume about Say? Like, do we think she's just gonna dominate all the way to the merge and then find her way? Like, I don't see this lasting long term. Like, I feel like she's gonna burn out really soon.
Yeah, Cedric in her pocket like that. Like, yeah, she's not going anywhere. So they're gonna lose again. They're gonna vote up Mary, You're gonna lose again, and probably Justin's gone, and it's gonna be those two going into the merge. Like that feels like the most likely option. Maybe they'll do a tribe swap. Maybe they'll do something. I don't know, but
So then, based on your statement on the beginning of this episode, do you still think someone from Green is going to win the game?
yeah, Cedric's gonna cook.
That would be quite the story. I would love to see that.
Even though
happen.
I want Justin. I want Pizza to win.
Yeah, no, I like Justin just for the vibes. There's something about him. Like just
Mhm.
looking at it, I don't know what it is. Like he looks like pizza. You know what I mean? Like not in a negative way, just like when I think of pizza, like it's Justin. Is that track or is that am I just making stuff
Sure.
up here?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. He just looks like pizza.
All right. You
Even
want to talk
his
about another
triangle-shaped
tribe?
Body. Let's talk about mustard.
Okay. Mustard. David has
I
4
feel
nipples.
like he does have 4 nipples. That was a weird whole segment. Just like everybody's sharing the weird stuff about him. Mitch was very funny, where it's like, "What's yours?" And he's like, "I have a stutter." I don't remember what he said, but it was really good.
Yeah. And then Kyle refuses to believe he has a wart. That's the conclusion of it.
Yeah,
I don't know. Nothing on
it's
that.
callous.
Well, I think some of the biggest stuff that happened was Mitch was the one that went on the journey and came back with a steal a vote. Is that correct?
Yep.
Both him and then
Or
also
vote blocker. Yeah.
Thomas. Oh yes. Okay. Mitch has the vote blocker. Thomas has the vote steal.
Thomas has the vote steal.
That's interesting. Why they're a little different. And yeah, basically Mitch told his whole tribe. Everyone knows about it.
Yeah.
But then especially told Charity, and people picked up on that. So looks like the two of them are currently on the bottom, which also goes back to we saw the other four form that alliance last week.
Yeah.
Which we talked a little bit about. So it's tracking there. But then the other bigger thing that happened was Kyle finding the Beware advantage and getting some help to figure it out. Now he has an idol. So that's where we are with advantages on this tribe.
In my head, he had already found the idol. Like I was watching it and I got like deja vu. I don't know why. I don't think it happened last week, but in my head, he had already found something. So I was very confused during part of that. But now I'm tracking with it. I love how everybody's like, I don't know how to do puzzles. I'm just gonna give it to somebody else to do the puzzle.
Yeah, that was definitely a theme, which I think I'm more excited to talk about it with the other tribe because that one was fascinating. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, was Kyle the one that you kind of placed your long-term bet on for winning? I couldn't remember. Last week, we each threw our name out. I said
No.
Ava. Who did you say?
I thought I said Shaheen.
You did. That's right. You did say that. Okay. Yeah. Never mind. For some reason, I thought you liked Kyle. Do you like Kyle? Is that true? Am I making that up? Or
No,
you just...
he's an attorney lying and saying he's a teacher. All the way out on Kyle.
Okay.
It's too basic.
Well, an attorney that can't do a puzzle. Why do I think attorneys would be good at that? There's probably not much correlation, I suppose. But
Honestly, that shows why people lie about being attorneys. You automatically assume he's smart and can do puzzles because he's an attorney. That's why they lie. Actually, I might be more.
I'm sorry.
That was textbook.
I am the reason that we have this archetype of lying attorneys. Yeah, I don't know. I think this tribe is one that I don't really have much investment in yet because it feels like the dynamics, even less so than Purple, are like still just very shallow. You know, like the things that
Yeah,
are bringing
absolutely.
these alliances together are just so surface level and not very exciting. And so it's like, is it just going to be Charity and Mitch on the bottom with one of them being blindsided? Probably. Like, that's what we're being led to believe. But I don't know. Like, I don't really know much about Charity, even though I'm seeing her on my screen. I don't know much about Chrissy, even though I'm seeing conversations with her, you know? And, like, maybe that's just because we're focusing on this, hey, what's wrong with your body edit. which doesn't actually tell us much. Because like, I think David's funny and probably not going to go super far, but I have nothing to, go off of. So I think I want to see more from them.
Yeah, I was trying to think as you were talking. I was trying to think, okay, how do I describe it? And that's perfect. Like this, it's so surface level, shallow. What we've seen from each of them. Like, yeah, they're showing these insecurities, but like, it's the fun stuff. It's not the like super intimate moments or like alliances forming or like I don't know. We just haven't seen enough to make any of them that interesting yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because again, we'll get to Purple Tribe, but like it feels like those bonds are forming on things that will last longer,
Mm-hmm.
and this one is forming on, hey, I have this advantage. Let me tell you about it. Okay, let's work together. Hey, I think we need an alliance quick. Okay, 4 of us right now. And so I don't know. It just feels like the dynamics are still very much up in the air, and I don't think it's because that's actually how it is. I just don't think we're seeing the full picture yet of some
And
of the
maybe
deeper
part of it's
connections.
this week that they were the tribe that was chosen to have the funny thing. Because I feel like every episode there's like a funny bit in the early episode that's just like, oh, this doesn't actually have to do with game. It's just goofy.
Yeah.
And they were the tribe that had to do that, and so they didn't get to go into the actual dynamics that are happening.
Yeah, I feel like even in this new era, the sample data we have to compare this to is so strong where like I'm automatically comparing this to previous like tribes where this one reminds me a
Yeah.
lot of the Green Tribe from 46 where it was like Ben and Charlie having the Taylor Swift and Metallica just song battle.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And I
Yeah.
think we had similar complaints where it was like, I think we like these people. I think some of them could be good game players, but this is all we're seeing right now, and
Mm-hmm.
it is telling us absolutely nothing. Uh, which again, I don't know. Maybe goes into the larger conversation of like, once you have 3 tribes, which is all we've had for 8 seasons now, 7 seasons, 8.
This is the 8th.
Yes. Like one tribe is going to be neglected, so this might be that tribe.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just they might it's not telling us anything like you said, but it might be telling us that they're not going to lose. Like it's the next few episodes we just don't have to worry about them because it's not it like giving us this like deep lore of like where they stand strategically right now would be completely useless. So no, they're going to be the goofy like we're going to show some jokes and keep it moving. We'll see next week but maybe we just don't need to worry about them right now. We'll learn later.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at their tribe, I mean, like, they do have the strength, I will say. I think
Mm-hmm.
maybe even more than Purple. Like, Purple's very strong as well, but it's hard for me to believe that either of them are going to lose before Green at this point.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, should we talk about Purple?
Well, we forgot about one thing that we need to go back and discuss.
What's that?
See Kevin's dive.
I did see Kevin's dive. Of course I saw Kevin's dive.
That's all I needed. Was just to make sure.
Did you want to talk
just
about
check Twitter. Just type in Survivor Kevin's dive, and I'm sure it'll show up. That's how I used to dive. I've definitely had days where I've done that. Where like, this is great for podcasting, but it's like
no, I like literally. I'm looking it up right
and
now
down.
because I need to see it again.
It's so good.
He's just like, I don't like. He's like, it's almost like he either hasn't dived before or like he has and had a horrible experience, so now he's just subconsciously terrified and just can't help but do this.
I genuinely did that the first few times I did, and it's just you won't fully commit. Like you have to fully commit just diving, and he just hasn't been able to do that yet.
I mean, yeah, I can't say I wouldn't do the same thing if I was forced to dive on Survivor.
Yeah.
I don't know the
I
last time I dove and like I really don't know the last time I
from
did
that
it.
height is such a bold choice, though.
What would you
So I
do?
remember
Just
seeing
like do
somebody
a
that, like,
running jump?
They over rotated, so like they were like weirdly going in instead of just like diving in properly.
Yeah. I literally just had this on a loop right now, and it's just the funniest thing ever. So I'm gonna get out of that so we can move on to purple.
All right, I just that was an important thing that we needed to make sure we.
No,
touched
no,
on.
it was very important. Yeah, purple is exciting. That's what I'll say. Kind of the main event was Star finding the Beware advantage, and just kind of being chaotic about it, I suppose. She
Yeah.
originally tells Joe, thinking like, I need to bring in an ally. I need someone I can trust. Joe, which I thought was a brilliant move, wanted some accountability here, so he's like, let me bring in a third. Let's bring in a third party here,
Mm-hmm.
just because he wanted to cover his back so that people don't think he's off having conversations with her. And
Right.
then she goes and tells Bianca and Thomas.
It's just everyone but Ava.
Right. Which is such a bold move to just...
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think that's a bad move. Like, I
Oh,
just
yeah.
think that is a... Because, like, so her logic is that Ava suggested that she should be the one to sit out on the challenge, right? And so because of that, Star felt threatened, I suppose, of like, oh, they're calling me out that I should sit on a challenge. So then because
Mhm.
of that, Ava became her target. And that's kind of the base of it, I suppose.
And that feels like a very, I don't know if I'm allowed, if this is an okay thing to say. Felt like that was like her lack of like maybe social awareness a little bit. Like she did the math of like, hey, it makes the most sense for her to sit out, and did not deliver that well or communicate that well in that moment.
Yeah.
I said that a lot better than my first thought was. I was gonna like, oh, that was some of the autism showing, and I was like, that's not okay. I was like, reel that in.
Well,
How
you
can we
just
work
said it
this in
anyway,
a
so there we go.
proper way? I know, but I said that I learned and then grew from that moment. No one listens to this anyways. And everybody knows I love Ava.
Everyone?
Yeah. I mean, everybody that listens. I think I made it clear last week.
Okay. I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but
so-
I agree. I think that's kind of what it is, right?
And that was going to happen. I feel like that was prepped for that to happen. So it was interesting because I feel like I saw something, and it might have just been somebody speculating, but it's like everybody loves Ava now, but it feels like they're setting her up to like do something pretty like rude or just like explode or something. I don't know what that would look like, but it like suggested that would happen this episode. So this episode, I was like, oh, is she gonna like pop off on somebody? Or when she was like shooting the buoys or whatever, I was like, oh, is she gonna do poorly at this? And then like have like, I don't want to say an episode. I don't know the right verbiage to use, so
Sure.
sorry if that's incorrect. And then just nothing really happened other than her being like, hey, Star, you should sit. And then it was like, and maybe that's still coming. When I read it on Twitter, it felt like it was somebody who was like spoiling like an early like, oh, watch out, the episode's gonna have this. It might have just been that random person that's like, oh, they're probably doing this though.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Because that didn't happen, but I could see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I hate to say it, but it does feel rather likely that she will make a comment at some point that will push someone the wrong way. But yeah, the interesting thing is, like, it did feel like it happened, though. You know what I mean? Because it's like Star's reaction almost elicited like a stronger attack from Ava.
Yeah.
So I think like that is interesting because like I didn't feel like it was that bad. But then I did have the thought. I think this reminded me a little bit of Claire from season 44?
Yeah.
Question mark? Is that right?
That sounds right.
Where
I
she was
know
on
you're
the
talking about at least.
she's on the Green Tribe, and the first tribal they went to, she went home because for the first like 2 or 3 weeks, she was always the one to sit out. So I can understand the logic where, okay, if my tribe thinks that I'm the best option to not play in a challenge, they might also think I'm the best option to send home because I'm not going to be helpful in the challenge, Like that
Mhm.
logic might... So like I do get it. I think where Star probably went wrong is just fully 100% essentially form this 5-person bond with one person left out, because I think it works okay, like, if you have, like, okay, here's 3 people, here's 4 people maybe, but, like, if there's one person that's left out of this, not alliance, but, like, trust circle maybe, of, like, hey, the 5 of us know about this, but not this person, you are assuming that one person on the out isn't working with anyone else within that 5,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is a wrong assumption to make, because you have to assume,
Yeah.
which is why even if you leave 2 people out, at least you don't have to fully commit on who your target is. You can just say, oh, well, maybe
Yeah.
it'll be one of them too. But, like, once you say a name definitively like that, whoever else that has a relationship with them, which has to be someone, like, you can't assume that Ava doesn't have one connection.
Mm-hmm. They might, you might get lucky and they might just be upset about it, but roll with it, just to roll with it. But yeah, somebody's gonna have a close connection with her. Yeah, it's foolish. I don't think Star is playing very well so far.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Hot take, I know.
Well, I think she was like the one last week where I was like, I don't know anything about her. Like, she was like the one person that was like, I got nothing. And so lucky enough for her that she was the one that found the Beware advantage, so that she had some screen time this week. I did love the different opinions on what to do with this information, though, where Thomas was just like, let's sabotage.
Yeah.
I just, I don't know. I kind of loved it. And then, who was it? Was it Joe? Oh, man, I can't remember. No. I think it was Shaheen that was like, he was like walking through his options of, I could help her a little bit to make myself look good, but not help her fully. I could fully 100% help her. I could sabotage. Like, he had like layers to his options of what he could do while trying to help her solve it, because she just like gave up. She's like, oh, here you go solve it for me, I'm gonna go back here, and then just like left.
Mm-hmm. And he also just like immediately clocked, like when Thomas did that, he was like, man, that was crazy that his first instinct was to just sabotage.
Right.
Like, and he locked that away as like, I gotta be careful with this guy, because like he's a cutthroat. And then he was like, all right, so I have these options, and we didn't really get a payoff, I don't think.
No.
It's interesting the different like deciphering, like to find the letters. It's different with each tribe, it looked like.
Mm-hmm.
With them, it was like little holes in whatever the decoder, and they'd have to go to each one and figure out what letter it is.
Yeah.
It was very interesting.
Yeah, I kind of liked it. Yeah, and I think, we talked a little about this last week, where it was like, I think my favorite one is still like the bird cage with the thing inside, but like I like when there's like a public thing that everyone knows is there, but not everyone is 100% sure of what it's there for, and then potentially you can be like, okay, there is something here, and maybe someone has tampered with it. Even last year, the whole, what was it, like the red paint that was on the advantage?
Yeah.
And then people found the crime scene. Like, that stuff's very fun to me, where you have to like do something that's like very outward and very public. But yeah, I think the next time on Survivor segment was Thomas was talking about like he had some confessional where he was like, he's like, oh yeah, you think it's your idol? Well, we control you, or something along those lines. So it's definitely gonna come back, and I'm very excited. Because right now, it feels like they're all in agreement that, like, let's just not let her have a vote. Like, as long as
Thomas
possible.
is like the best type of like just like cutthroat gameplay. I'm very excited to watch him play more.
I am too. He might be my favorite on this season, if I had to pick right now. Well, because also he has the vote steal, but he just straight up lied to his tribe, right? Where he's just like, yep, I didn't play, wasn't worth the risk. I'm like, all right, here you go. And it seems like he sold it. So
yeah,
I don't know. You don't really, I feel like people are way too honest when it comes to that, and almost like they have to be, because once you're done with the journey, you're forced to come back and sell a story. And if you're not good at that, you're not good at that. But Thomas is like good at that. So I'm like, okay, he's got something in him, but unfortunately he might have got clocked a little bit in this episode.
Yeah, just a little bit.
The only other person on this tribe is Bianca, which I guess I don't have much on, other than
Everybody seems in with her, but I feel like we haven't seen much from her.
yeah. Well, Thomas likes her. I think the dynamics of what I see, you got the three guys. You
Mhm,
got Joe and Ava. You
mhm.
got Thomas and Bianca.
Yep.
And then also this 5 person that doesn't include Ava,
Yep.
which is
Yeah, I feel like those
Star's
are all the
only
group.
play right now, which is unfortunate.
That means all Shaheen really has is like
The three
the
guys.
trio of guys.
Yes. So I don't know. They are the ones I'm most excited to see, only because I think there are a lot of, I would say, just like unique gameplays and personalities here. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Even if Star makes it far, I think that'd be entertaining. But for
Mhm.
sure, like Thomas and Ava and Joe, like it's just great. It's a good tribe. So I hope they last a little bit. I would not be upset if they made most of them made the merge. But then I also want to see them go to tribal, so I'm mixed.
Oh, it makes sense that Star and Ava are beefing. They're the two youngest people on that season.
Oh, interesting. Is that the same with Mary and Say?
Close. Mary's 30, but and Justin's 29, so he's a little bit younger. But they're 29 to 30.
Oh,
They're younger.
so Say and
Definitely on the
Justin
cast.
should be beefing. It's always the youngins. That's how it
Kids these
goes.
days, I tell you.
Did you want to play the confessional count game?
Yeah, I mean, it's your favorite thing. Bring it. What do we got?
No, it's not exciting at all. Say and David had the most this week. That's all.
Yep. What you say?
I'll do some more number crunching this week and maybe have some stats. But
David had the most?
yeah,
That's actually kind of interesting.
is it? Okay,
I
tell
wouldn't
me
have picked
more.
him.
Is there anything else in this
I mean, I
episode
guess he
we
talked
need to?
a bit, but yeah.
Is there anything else we need to go through? What do you think that
We
covers?
draft next week.
That's the tradition. Do you have another option?
No, that works for me. Just making sure I'm prepping.
Yeah,
Bill Noggin.
you're prepping to draft the person that's going to go home the following week.
No, I'm gonna bully you into it.
I got ideas of who I'm taking. I could be ready, but I'm
Ideas.
waiting. I need one more episode of Data, even though it's probably going to be green. And then
Yeah.
because of that, we're not going to draft anyone from green, and they're going to end up winning. So that's how it's going to
That's
go.
how it happens every time, man.
I want one of us to draft the winner. That's all I want this time.
Yeah.
Because we have 3 seasons now of neither of us drafting the winner. We
I
got to
believe in
change
us.
that. Because last year did we do 5 people?
Yeah.
Or 4?
3.
No,
think it
the
was
first
that
time
many.
the first time we did 3. Last year we did 4. I don't know what the middle season was.
Should we just draft everybody?
We should just draft everyone then to make us a winner. No, let's not do that. All right.
It's one way to meet the goals that we're trying to meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
That's
did
a-
4.
that's a
I
fair
found
point.
it in the chat.
Okay. Well, I have faith in us. We can do it. Well, I think that's it. You have a
Pleasure doing
question?
business.
Or are you just waving goodbye?
No, it was me like, yeah.
Okay. For more episodes, visit notgameballpersonal.com. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube at NGAPPod. That's at NGAPPod. I'm Nathan. This is Tony. We'll see you next week.
15 seasons, 2 pals, 1 podcast.